I've created a Golden Age Daredevil playlist in case you want to catch up, but this is where we left off. We left off with Silver Streak Comics issue 8. In here we have the Claw who hypnotically controls the President of the United States. He destroys Boston and Philadelphia and kills many people. The Daredevil has a plane that he pilots in pursuit of the Claw, but eventually crashes. And after walking away from the plane crash pretty much unscathed, he fist fights the Claw into unconsciousness and drags him to jail. Unfortunately, he's no longer using his boomerang. Sport shots. Pirate Prince. Can you solve these? Silver Streak. Gully Gulliver. Gosh. Cloud Curtis and his golden bullet. Secret Agent X-101. That's a new one. Good old Lance Hale. The Silver Ranger and his wonder horse Lucifer. And Presto Martin. Laughs. Dan Dearborn, Freedom's son. It's George Washington. Dickie Dean, boy inventor. Rusty? Here we go, issue 9, Silver Streak Comics. So the Claw is sentenced to death and taken to the electric chair while the Daredevil goes on a fishing trip. The Claw escapes in the nick of time and takes all of the death row inmates with him to safety in the woods. The Claw flies his plane to loot nearby towns for supplies, and the former inmates build themselves a new town. The Claw hypnotizes the U.S. Air Force pilots to land their planes in his new town, while his band of outlaws take possession of their aircraft. The Daredevil shows up, but he's immediately captured, tied to a stake, and burned alive. The Claw mails his ashes to the police. Good God. The Claw and his men attack the U.S. Army and kill thousands of soldiers. And the Daredevil shows up again. Through mind reading, the Claw learns that the Daredevil he burned to death was a never-before-mentioned brother that was filling in for the real Daredevil while he was out fishing. So the Claw captures the real Daredevil, and the United States surrenders to their new emperor, the Claw. That is quite an issue. Sport shots. Pirate Prince. Can you solve these? Silver Streak and Wiz. Gully Gulliver. Cloud Curtis. Secret Agent X-101. Lance Hale. Silver Ranger. Presto Martin. Laughs. Dan Dearborn. Boy, red, white, and blue out the yayo. What does that mean? Dickie Dean. Hey, Rusty and the gang are back, but check this out. It's a one-page story promoting Silver Streak Comics starring the Daredevil, and the Silver Streak shows up in their first crossover. Is this official? Have they now met? So now we go to the next hardcover, and we've got Silver Streak Comics issue 10. We pick up right where we left off. The Claw and his men round up hundreds of women so he can pick his new empress. Then he has the Daredevil thrown in a vat of piranhas. Using the poison the new empress snuck to him, the Daredevil kills the piranhas. Then he breaks free of the vat with his spiked belt, saves the Empress, escapes on a motorcycle to take her to safety, and then returns to defeat the Claw. And look, he uses his boomerang again to take out this guard. Woohoo! Then he tricks the Claw into stomp activating a dormant volcano. The volcano blows, engulfing the Claw in a burst of lava which flows down through the criminal town, burning every one of the Claw's men to death. This was Jack Cole's last story. He left to go to Quality Comics and create Plastic Man. Wow, what an ending. Lance Hale, Dougie, Silver Streak, Kelly the Cop, Pirate Prince, Dickie Dean, Laughs, Dan Dearborn, Presto Martin, Captain Battle. Wow, some patriotic dude and a bunch of evil Hawkmen. Silver Ranger and his wonder horse Lucifer. Can you answer these? Can you solve these? Cloud Curtis, Pat Patriot and his gang, and Bucko Private. So here we have Silver Streak Comics issue 11. Ooh, kicking it off with Captain Battle. Here we go, Daredevil versus the Claw by Don Rico. So it has now been taken over by writer-artist Don Rico. 23 years later, he would go on to draw the first appearance of the Black Widow for Marvel. Scarlett Johansson's character. The Claw now resides in a skull-shaped monastery in Tibet, where he uses magic to transport himself to Hades to ask Lucifer the genie for help defeating the Daredevil. The genie agrees to help him one last time, but if he doesn't win, the Claw will be permanently banished to Asia. The Claw returns to Earth, throws his voice across the world with a challenge to the Daredevil, who, in his civilian guise of millionaire playboy Bart Hill, kisses his girlfriend goodbye and leaves for his final battle. The Claw rains fiery meteors down to kill people all over the city, and the Daredevil runs across a continent. During his run, he sees the genie's army of monsters killing hundreds of people, poisoning the city's water supply, and knocking down skyscrapers. The Daredevil runs up a mountain, kills a dragon by throwing a rock in its eye, and punches the Claw off his feet. A crowd of giant monsters come down a cliff to destroy the Daredevil, who uses his boomerang once more to create an avalanche that buries all of them. Another fight with the Claw sends them both off the mountain. The Claw catches himself, climbs back up, and looks at the body of the Daredevil 1,000 feet below. The Claw then captures the Daredevil's girlfriend and takes her back to Tibet, where the Daredevil is waiting for him. He punches the Claw off the mountain and collapses in his girlfriend's arms from his wounds. These stories are epic! Laughs. The Pirate Prince, Kelly the Cop, Dickie Dean, Lance Hale, you got it, Presto Martin, Silver Ranger, Cloud Curtis, and Sheriff Jed. Dan Dearborn, Silver Streak, and introducing Mercury the Boy Streak. Well now, just in case Wiz the Falcon wasn't annoying enough, now you've got a kid's sidekick. And that takes us to Silver Streak Comics issue 12. So in this one, the Daredevil takes on and defeats a crime syndicate. It's a regular, real-life, street-level story without any fantasy. He uses his boomerang again, and his spiked belt again, so that's a bonus. It's a different tone for the stories, but it's still cool. Dickie Dean, Silver Streak, Can You Do This Junk? Lance Hale, ooh, a dinosaur. Chubby Chump. But look over here, a saber-toothed tiger. And there we have it, boys and girls. A 2-page ad showing that the Daredevil is getting his own series. Captain Battle. Oh look, it kind of looks like Namor with Hawkman's wings. It's interesting. Silver Scout, Cloud Curtis, Pirate Prince, Dan Dearborn, Presto Martin, and a back cover ad for the Daredevil's new comic coming out. They changed his boomerang to pink. And we're going to finish our Silver Streak Comics adventures with issue 13. Captain Battle, who clearly also got a kid's sidekick. Silver Streak, Cloud Curtis, Pirate Prince. Wow, look at that guy. He's got 6 arms. And a talking corpse? Ooh, I gotta read these. Lance Hale, Dickie Dean, Thundor? Huh? Wow, looks interesting. Presto Martin, and the Daredevil. Finally, what do we have here? 5 months after the Red Skull made his first appearance in Captain America issue 1, we get the Scarlet Skull here. He even wears the same green jumpsuit, but the Daredevil takes him out like it's nothing. Takes out his men, too. Oh, and they capture his lady. And they capture him. He just beats up the Scarlet Skull again, saves his girl Friday, Bob's your uncle. And that was it. It's time to go get your first issue of Daredevil Comics. And we have that right here. So this was published a few months before the United States entered World War II. And yet, as we can see right on the cover, the Daredevil and the Silver Streak and the Pirate Prince and Dickie Dean and the Claw are battling Hitler. Charles Biro is writing and drawing the stories here. The Daredevil steals a German's uniform, but where did he stash his costume? Because look, he clearly kept it with him. He had to change back into it on a plane. Even the spiky belt. Where'd he hide that? But let me flip back a page, because look here. He got a chance to punch Hitler in the face. course, this was a few months after Captain America did the same thing on the cover of his first issue, but hey, still a good thing. Back to where we were, Winston Churchill introduces the Daredevil to the Silver Streak. So maybe that ad with Rusty and his gang wasn't their official first meeting. But now Daredevil's going to take a back seat in the first story of his first comic, while the Silver Streak goes off on a mission by himself. He comes back, they pat him on the back, and he goes off on another mission by himself again. Even though he can fly, and so can his bird, he's gonna take a plane. Because for some reason, Silver Streak isn't using his powers in this story. But don't you worry about Daredevil, he's still just gonna hang back. Look, a peg leg! That is quite the battle. Look, he's bleeding from his mouth. So is he. Oh, the Daredevil's doing something. He's firing a gun at a plane. Well, anyone could do that. But because the Daredevil did it, and he's got a cool costume, he gets a medal. So does Silver Streak, but not peg leg. Now, this next story features Hitler asking the Claw to help him out. The Claw, trying to show off, breaks through a dam in China. I guess he's been banished to Asia. Drowns his own people. What a jerk. But check this out. The Daredevil goes up in a plane and he shoots this pilot to death. Then he gets out on the wing of his own plane and jumps onto the Japanese plane, I guess throws the pilot out and takes it over and lands it. Oh my God, have you ever seen a stunt like that? He just jumped from one plane to another. Remember, this guy has no powers. All right, the battle continues, raging on in every panel. But oddly enough, the Claw doesn't recognize the Daredevil. He has no idea who he is. I don't understand how that happened. They were arch nemeses. But the Claw almost kills Hitler, but he lets him go and swims off. Hash. Okay, so now the Daredevil is teaming up with Lance Hale to fight Hitler in Africa. Ooh, Daredevil punches Hitler right in the guts. And Lance shoots off Hitler's mustache with a bow and arrow. So he tries to get away in a tank. Daredevil Tarzan swings over to him, yokes him out, and socks him in the jaw. And Lance is gonna throw him right off the top of an elephant into gunfire. Nope, those are Hitler's men. But they're taken out by the Daredevil and his boomerang. Wow, Hitler can't hit them with a machine gun. He can't even hit an elephant? Daredevil's got the bow and arrow now. And he fires right into the percussion cap of a stack of bombs and blows the whole place up. Wow. Now we got a big old ad. And then the Daredevil teams up with Dickie Dean, Boy Inventor, to go after Goebbels. Ooh, do they have a flying car? Daredevil can't keep up with the kids? Come on. How humiliating. Flex for the cameras, boys. Boomerang. Here we go. Take them all out. I like that. And deliver Goebbels wrapped up like a mummy right to Hitler himself. Just gags. And now the Daredevil teams up with Cloud Curtis to go after Goering. Okay, I was impressed before. Forget about it. Daredevil is leaping from plane to plane in the air during combat with active pilots fighting each other. There has never been more amazing action in a comic book in the history of time. Look at this fat guy. Cloud Curtis convinces Goering to go one-on-one. Pilot-e-pilot. Mano-e-mano. All right. Goering crashes, bounces out near a pig, and holds a gun to his own head. And now the Daredevil teams up with Pirate Prince. Check out this high seas adventure. Now, how the Pirate Prince traveled forward through time for this tale, I have no idea. It's not explained. Ooh, I would not want to kick directly into a metal spike. Bad move, dude. And we end the issue with the life story of Adolf Hitler. Remember, this is before we even entered the war. How will this bloody era end? How will Hitler wind up? Exiled? Sick? Hated? Imprisoned? That's what happened to Napoleon, Caesar, the Kaiser. His time will come. The fate of all dictators. Quite an interesting time capsule. And that's where we're going to leave off because issue 1 was almost too much for my nervous system to take. Now, I've been loving these stories so much, I was finally inspired to draw a superhero for the first time in, I think, 2 years. I posted the short video yesterday, and I'm going to include the artwork here right now. This is my drawing of the Golden Age Daredevil in his first appearance costume, and then the classic one that showed up in the next issue and from then on. I first became aware of this character when I watched the very first video ever uploaded back in 2014 to the Fizz Fop Lost Heroes of the Golden Age YouTube channel. And now I'm finally getting to collect and read the stories, and I'm absolutely in love with this character. Until next time.